IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we share the journey of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners.
Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode on the Musafir Stories. On the podcast today, we have a travel couple, Parul and Karan. The duo have been on a break from work exploring India and beyond. Let's hop on to the conversation and find out more about their travels. So with that introduction, I'd like to welcome Parul and Karan, two travelers on a break from work, going around the world and around India, documenting their travel exploits, if I may, on the blog called grasscode.xyz. Karan and Parul, thank you so much for being a part of the Musafir Stories and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Saif Feza.
Hi.
Hi, Saif, Feza. Thank you for having us on the Musafir Stories and letting us share our experiences.
Thank you. We are all ears to listen to the exciting story. So how are you guys doing? And tell us about how did the entire, the brave decision of taking a break from work and opting to travel come along?
Yeah, how did this happen? It is quite a decision you guys have made, and we just like to know a little bit more as to what went into this.
So, it started somewhere in 2015, I guess, when I had an existential crisis and I decided to quit work and travel around, see more of the world, scuba dive, stuff like that. Somewhere in the middle, we got married as well while I was jobless. And the idea was always to find a balance between work and what is not work, because the sum total of your existence should not be just what you do as a profession. It should be something more than that. So, this time, while I was thinking of going on another extended travel, Parul one fine day comes back from work frustrated and says that she's going to join me. So,
So I'm trying to decide if Parul is the brave one or Karan is the brave one. Parul for having agreed to marry Karan while he was jobless. Just joking. It really sounds like a trailer to a movie.
I know.
A lot of us go through this, but
And
not a lot
to
of
a
us.
dream also, I feel, because all of us sit there dreaming about it, and kudos, you guys have done it.
95% of us don't end up doing anything about it and just waking up and going back to work the next day. Kudos to you for having taken that extra step. And brave. That's what I'd call you right now. And now, tell us where you guys have been after this latest break you've taken. Right? What's your day in a life of been like?
Well, right now, it's a little different. But once we started, the first thing that we wanted to do was go on a trek. So we do a bunch of things. We are not just backpackers. Right now we are backpackers. Before that, we were motorbiking across the northeast of India. We did that for 5 months. And before that, I started off with my first love, which is trekking in the Himalayas. That's what we did since we... before that, we also went to see the FIFA matches in Russia.
Okay.
The World Cup?
The World Cup. So, that's how our break from work this time has been like. So, it's Russia, Kashmir, Northeast, and now we are backpacking.
Okay.
Sounds great. So please tell us, where are you guys going to take us today?
So, we are going to the Kashmir Great Lakes trek, which is the one that we started with. One of the most beautiful treks that I've ever been to till now. It's located off Srinagar in the valley of Kashmir. It's one of the most beautiful valleys. I mean, I don't know, there are certain apprehensions. Whenever I talk to my friends, they have certain apprehensions about Kashmir, but if you just go there once, you'll see how beautiful it is, and it's so easy to fall in love with that place.
I've been there thrice.
So good that you had to do it twice, huh?
Thrice.
But that's brilliant that you started off your let's call it a break. You started off this new lifestyle also with this wonderful trek, so I'm sure that kind of makes it a little extra special also. In terms of a little bit of orientation, why don't you draw out how long this trek was and the kind of preparation also that you might have had to go through before the trek?
Yes. So the first thing that we needed to do was find a group that we could trek with. So that was all left up to me. And I was trying to find, so I've been trekking for almost 10 years now. So the treks that I usually do typically involve packing up a bag and leaving with my friend into some kind of valley or the other and coming out after 5 or 7 days. But that's usually in Uttarakhand. And this time I wanted to find a trek which would be easy enough for Parul to do. And then we also asked a bunch of our friends to join in. Yeah, Kashmir Great Lakes was highly recommended by another trekking, a friend of mine who treks a lot. And I usually don't look at the pictures of a place before I travel to the place. Kind of, I like the element of surprise. Just his recommendations were enough. I asked the kind of whether he could recommend any groups. And the most common way in which people actually go to these treks are through one of those bigger groups these days. But I prefer finding groups which are local, which take smaller number of people to the treks. There are multiple reasons for that. A smaller group is obviously more intimate.
Right.
There is a lower ecological footprint, and they are also socially much more responsible. Then you get to support local, which is a much more sustainable way in which you can support trekking activities. And the staff is also usually better trained and much more knowledgeable, because those are people who live there and who are kind of feel responsible for those places.
Absolutely. And in terms of the time of the year that you did this, when is a good time, and when did you guys do it?
Yeah, a good time is from July to mid-September.
Yeah.
Which is a good time for anyone in any other part of India, because it's usually monsoons in the rest of India. And Kashmir does not experience monsoons, the phenomena of monsoons. So while it does rain, it is not a rainy season there. So yeah, anytime between June and mid-September is good. We went towards mid of August. So yeah, that's the time we did it. Yeah, so we found the group Alpine Adventurers, which was again recommended by another friend who lives in Kashmir. And we went through the preparation steps with them. They asked us what to get, what not to get, what preparations they would for us.
Great,
and
so that's nice.
All those stuff.
And with respect to the trek, how difficult is the trek?
Difficulty level,
yeah.
Well, it says that it's kind of, I would grade it as a medium difficulty level trek, but it does require fitness. You do cross some high altitude passes up to 4,200 meters, but it's not as arduous as it's not a very difficult trek, but from medium somewhere on the higher side.
How many
of
days
medium,
of a trek was this?
It's usually 7 days long, which includes break days as well.
Okay, brilliant. So I think we have the context set out pretty well at this point. How big was the team that you guys were going on this trek with?
So we were a team of 10 trekkers, of which 8 of us were friends. So everyone was somehow related to Karan in some way. So someone worked with him, someone studied with him, and I was obviously there. And then besides the 8 of us, there were 2 locals from Srinagar who joined us as trekkers. Then there were 2 coordinators, Shuja and Amir. So I would like to take names so that it's easy to connect when we tell the stories. There was a guide, Nasir, and there were 5 porters and a few kachars who went with us. And of the 5 porters, we'll tell you a story of a guy, Irfan, who will just keep on coming up in the stories again and again.
Okay, special appearance.
Yes.
Brilliant.
So,
And just in terms of the preparation, but I mean, you did cover the things that most of the things the touring company did call out what you needed and what you did not need. So I'm assuming since you had like porters and kachars and everything with you, it wasn't too much heavy lifting for you guys, right?
Actually, no, it wasn't. So we were told beforehand that we can carry a 40 to 60 liter backpack, which if we wanted, we could carry it, which a few people actually did on the first day. But otherwise, they would they would provide the kachars. We were, on the other hand, required to carry a day pack, so in which we used to have our lunches and a towel, water, cap, sunscreen, so anything that you would need during the day, ponchos, just in case it rains.
Right.
So all of those things were there in the day pack, but not a lot of heavy lifting for us.
Okay, brilliant. So I think in terms of setting the context, we've done our job now. Did you guys fly into Srinagar and kick trek off then? Is there where you started from?
Yes. So the closest airport is Srinagar, and then you can stay a couple of days if you want. And the trek actually starts at 2 points. So one is Naranag and the other is Sonmarg. So based on where you want to start the trek, you can stay in those places. So if it is Naranag, you stay in Srinagar. If you're starting the trek from Sonmarg, then you can go and actually stay in Sonmarg.
So usually the transportation from Naranag or Sonmarg, whatever the starting point of the trek is, to and from Srinagar is taken care by the trekking group that we'll go with. But just in case it's not, it's also easy to arrange transport from Srinagar.
Okay, awesome. So are we all set to start the trek then? Or did we leave anything that we didn't call out?
No, I think
we're
Good,
to
right?
start.
Okay, so day one, kick off your journey. We are really excited and can't wait to hear your version of the story. So go on, guys, day one.
For this trek, most of the groups actually start from Sonmarg. But our group decided to start from Naranag, and that's a call that Alpine Adventurers took for us, that we are going to start from this side. So all of us went to this small village called Naranag, which is also ruins of 8th century Shiva temple. We were there for a while, we roamed around the ruins, and then eventually the trek started. So day one, we are going to a place called Nunkul, which is at the height of 3510 meters. And we are going to be covering about 11 kilometers on this day. So all of us, the 10 trekkers, the 2 coordinators, the group leader, everybody, we just begin from Naranag. And the first 3 to 4 kilometers were a steep climb to a place called Butchri Pass. The trek begins with an extreme steep climb. And we have been told from by the group coordinators that this is supposed to be the toughest day
one.
of the trek.
Oh God.
Day one, yeah. So obviously, since it was day one, then people started being divided into 2 groups. There were the trekkers who were in front, and then there were the slackers who were wondering, why are we here? Why are we not in the comfort of our bed? And I wasn't that. So after those 3-4 kilometers, eventually some people went happily, some dragged themselves to a place called Butchri Top, which was a place which had a dhaba.
Motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then they treated us with Maggie and tea and biscuits and something. And this at a height where we could see a very beautiful valley. So people took a breather, had some food, put in some energy. And then the first group went ahead, and the people who were there in the end were frolicking in the meadows, basically taking pictures. And then we suddenly heard someone call for us. And by the time we reached them, we were told that we're actually running late because the campsite is very far off. So we started around 10 in the morning, and it was around 4 o'clock by the time we reached the campsite. The campsite was absolutely beautiful. So we were camped below a glacier mountain called Harmukh. And there was a lake which was in front of it, which was the first alpine lake that we were going to see. So one of the few important things about this trek is that there are designated camping sites for this trek, which are usually at a walking distance from the lake. So not exactly on the lake, to avoid multiple things like pollution and all those things. There are people who can fish in this lake, but you need a special permit to do that. And yeah, there's some locals who were doing that. So this was our day one. Some of us then by the time the tents were being set up, we went to the lake. We were sitting there and we were just discussing that even after coming so high up in the mountains, we can just see way taller Himalayas in front of us. Like it just seems we've not come any distance. Like everything is still so grand and still
That's the beauty of the Himalayas, right?
I know.
Yes.
This is most of the day in terms of the trekking is done by this point?
Yes. So after this,
There was an army camp as well. So the meadows that we were walking in. So this area is actually kind of sensitive as well. So there are 2 army camps that we'll be crossing over the 7 days. And the first one was right after Butcheri Top. So you usually need to keep an identity card, a photo ID, proof of yourself with you. And those are one of the more important things that you need to carry on this trek. So the army keeps kind of a check on who enters the valley and who exits it. There are 2 points. So yeah.
But nothing in terms of permits that you require, right? IDs are fine. Government IDs are fine.
Government IDs are good enough.
So brilliant. So how was the camping experience for day one? I'm sure, I guess this is the most excited you are, right? You've kick off the day, you've kind of set it off high spirits and everything. And you are also a little bit exhausted because you said this is one of the difficult parts of the trek in terms of the steepness, the incline also. How was day one in terms of camping and spending the night like chilling out with friends and sharing experiences?
Yeah. So day one itself was beginning of something which we called was a kabila. So all of us started. So there was a game called Mafia that we all used to play, which had, there's a god and then there are people. So people started taking those roles really seriously. And then by the end of the trek, we'll actually have someone who's the king. And then there are some people who are just the wise, the elderly. So day one was the beginning of it. So everybody was getting close. They were sharing stories that what's happening, where they've come from. And just generally the mood was a little light. People were sitting out after a tiring day.
Yeah, and the scenery was just so beautiful that you couldn't help but feel happy about what you have accomplished throughout the day. So it was quite nice. The staff was taking good care of us, and everyone was enjoying
brilliant.
themselves.
And especially just to call out the sceneries and the views, right? I mean, it's really hard for us to get this by on audio podcast. That's why you probably have to go check out. Firstly, like if it's possible, just go do the trek. That's the best way. Otherwise, I'd definitely call out the blog. It's not an out-and-out blog, but that's where Karan and Parul do document their travel stories. It's called grasscode.xyz. Definitely go check that out. The one that really stood out for me from day one was Mount Harmuk, right? That's the one. Brilliant view of the mountain, majestic and just by the lake. So it just feels like, I shouldn't be saying it that way, but it doesn't feel like it's in India also. Some of the sceneries that you have put out, I think that's why it's a little hidden.
Yes, it's extremely surreal, like the kind of sceneries that you see. But this being the first day for us, I have this theory that the first day you are just doubting why you even decided to come on a trek. The second day is the one in which the body kind of goes into a denial and starts accepting that this is what it is. This is what it is going to be for the next few days. And it's the third day that you actually start noticing the beauty of the sceneries around you. But this place was like the camping site was just so beautiful. Like, we really cannot express it in words. You can walk around the lake. You can go right under the Mount Harmuk. There's a waterfall there as well if you are like interested in taking a really cold shower. But it's very beautiful.
Yeah, and it's actually on day 2 that we'll realize that how big this Mount Harmuk is.
Yeah.
So it's actually the glacier on top of Harmuk which was feeding the lake where we were.
Okay, so this is the first lake, right? Nandkul.
This is the first lake.
And just to call that out, this trek, it covers about 11 lakes. Is that what it is? Okay.
Yes.
And
actually more than that. So you cross 11 lakes right on the path, and then there are a lot of other lakes that are a little off-route.
Okay.
So the days after you camp, or if you're taking a break day, you can actually do detour treks to those smaller lakes. And it's kind of within the trekking community of Kashmir. It's kind of a competition that who has seen how many lakes. So like Shuja, the guy that we were with, I think he was somewhere around 60 or something like that. And the guy Adil, who was in charge of Alpine Lakes, he had crossed 100 or something like that. So
150 lakes.
Yeah.
So it's a thing, that
it's a big
people
thing.
go for days and then they just go and look for lakes. That's what they do.
Sounds so interesting.
To touch back about your camping situation, right? So I'm assuming the coordinators and the porters, everything, they took care of meals and everything also, right? At the camping ground?
Yeah, so the prices were all inclusive of our meals, our tents, the khachas, everything was kind of included, which is another one good thing about these small groups. There are no hidden costs as such. So they were the ones carrying our tents. There was one big tent and in which 3 people could accommodate. And all the other tents were for 2 people each. Yeah, so we accommodated quite easily into the entire setup.
Yeah, and then the big dining tent was our castle where we used to like assemble and eat and do all these
and then there was a dining tent, there were the toilet tents and all the usual luxuries of a truck.
Okay, brilliant. So one day down, and that's what the coordinators told, to keep up your spirits and keep you motivated, that it was the toughest day. So looks like that's behind you. How was day 2 looking at?
Yeah, so day 2 was supposed to be a break day, which is good because we get to acclimatize as well. Plus, after the supposedly toughest day, you get to relax and actually look at one of the most beautiful lakes of this entire trek, which is Gangbal. So Nundkul, where we were camping, is part of a twin lake system, which composes of Nundkul and the Gangbal. Both of them are fed by the same glacier, Harmukh. And so Gangbal is a little over, like I think 50 to 60 meters above Nundkul. So it stands at a height of 3,570 meters or so. And so the second day what we did was we went till Gangbal. We walked a little around it, clicked a lot of photos. And then the idea was that we would go and explore another higher altitude lake, which was a little ahead of Gangbal, like a little further as well. So another 300 or 400 meters up into the mountains. The name of that lake we are still not in agreement with. Like the maps say something, our coordinator said some other thing, another trekking guide that we met on the way said another. So that's another name. So that's another thing about these lakes. They are not really named. Like they are so new and there's so many of them that everyone is like, it's like only the main lakes are named properly and can be identified. So we were one of the smaller lakes. 2 of us actually decided to drop out. Parul and another guy called Akshay.
Yeah, so we just sat at the Gangbal lake and we were just sitting there while these guys went for the other lake.
Yeah, because they really wanted their break day.
Yeah.
So we reached the other lake, and as soon as we saw it, the first thing that crossed the minds of a lot of us was that we needed to take a dip in it.
Interesting.
So this is a glacier-fed lake at a height of almost 4,000 meters, and we decided, the sun was bright and out.
I think it was the lack of oxygen.
Yeah, makes you take stupid decisions. But the sun was out and bright, which helped us a lot. So we got into the lake. We actually took a dip, and that kind of became a thing from there on. So any lake that we would encounter later, having time and getting to take a dip in it would become one of the main agendas.
So first 2 days we have been pretty lucky weather-wise. So we had sun shining bright, and it was good to walk in the cold with the sun actually being there. So weather-wise, we had been lucky for the first 2 days.
Okay, that's brilliant. And I think I was just going to say that it also adds to the experience, right? Otherwise, you only look at it as a trek. I mean, obviously, it's great and everything, but this is like adding an extra dimension totally in terms of the experience of the whole trek, right? How much of a sense it doesn't make to me. Faiza's the water baby. I'm not very fond of water, but it definitely does add an extra dimension to that whole experience.
Yeah, if you have to do it anywhere, this is one of the best places. So
I'm sure it is. So after this, how did the break day go after this?
So by the time we got back to Gangbal and found Parul and Akshit, the skies had started getting cloudy. We still went back to Nundkul for a bit. We returned to the camps. We sat around Nundkul, and towards the end of the day, it started raining. So and it would continue raining throughout the night and till the middle of the next day, which would kind of put off our plans a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So day 3, we are going to a place called the Satsar Valley, so which is at a height of 3,600 meters. But we are going to pass the first pass of this trek, which would be at a height of 3,900 meters. So this day we started off late because it was raining. And even after it stopped raining, the clouds were not clearing out. So our coordinators took this decision that till the time it doesn't clear out, we're not going to make a move because in case it starts raining, the khachars it's quite risky for the khachars. Yep. Which is again a very good thing about these smaller groups. Like the safety and everything comes first. Even if it puts off plans by a couple of days, it's fine. So this day, so we just put on our ponchos because we were still expecting mild rains. So we started moving and we reached the top of the pass eventually. Again, there were some people who were dragging some people. So we made it. So at the top of the pass, now this was one of the most beautiful scenes. So the two lakes that we had seen over the last 2 days, once we reached the top of the pass, we could actually see both of them at the same time. So again, because it was so beautiful, we actually ended up spending a long time here, taking up lots of photos and just talking about... This was the point, like he said, day 3, we started actually appreciating everything that was so beautiful around us.
This is
eventually our coordinators.
Zajbal Pass, is it? How do I pronounce that? Yeah, Zajbal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're getting a view of Nundkul and
Gangbal
lakes. Yeah. Again, just to call out the views, I'm sorry, I'll keep doing this. I urge people to go check out the blog and look at the beautiful views. And even this one, it's like out of the world. 2 lakes, especially from a high vantage point that you're looking at it. It's literally brilliant. Even though you said it was kind of raining at the beginning of that day, still both of those lakes appear really blue, and it's just mind-blowing, the view there. So yeah, go on guys, brilliant.
You can actually see a third lake as well, but we kind of got just a 2-minute window to actually see those lakes because the clouds were fleetingly passing throughout the area. So yeah, it's the sceneries of this entire trek. I will keep repeating this were out of this world. Like, this is one, and this will also like shape our opinion of alpine lakes for I don't know, forever, I guess. Maybe, like yes. So the alpine lakes that we have seen in Tawang after that and everything else, they seem so
like we're not impressed easily.
Let's put it that way, right? It's really hard to beat these, especially when we are traveling within India. Few I think will match up to this.
Yeah.
So yes, while we were still taking photos, our coordinators called out that maybe the weather is going to go bad, so we need to move fast. So then after this point, we had to go down. So it was a descent then. And this descent, we took a shortcut, which was actually to hop on boulders. Not a lot of us liked it. I did not. I mean, it was really about balancing yourself while hopping on boulders, and it's not really my thing. So eventually we reached the campsite. Now, by the time we had reached the campsite, it had started raining. But the good thing was that it was day 3, and by this time, a lot of us had gotten a hang of how to set up the tents. So everybody, like all hands on board, we quickly set up the entire campsite and stayed in till the time the rains died down.
Yeah, which was right after we had set up camp. So
always happens that way, right?
Yeah.
So this was also the place, the Satsar Valley. So it's called Satsar because it's made of 7 lakes. So Satsar, so 7-lake valley. This was also the place which was the coldest of all the 7 days that we saw. And this was also the place where there was a fake bear warning that maybe there's a bear in the valley, and in the night we should go in pairs to the loo.
Was this like just a ploy by your tour organizers to have you sleep early, or?
No, actually, the valley is the valley has got snow leopards and bears, but and the bears sometimes they do come towards the human camps, but if they usually do not engage in unprovoked attacks or something like that. So it was just a fair warning, just in case we get out in the night, we are going to the toilet or something, and we encounter a bear. It's always best to not be alone at those times. So
and then something did happen in the night. I would like to believe it was a bear, but
a lot of us
thought that. So the horses started running. Something was happening. We don't know what happened, but yeah, I would like to believe a bear was there.
A little bit of a thrill factor also there.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And this was the place where we went.
So the Kashmiri cuisine has got a lot of nice lamb in it. So we were a mixed group, vegetarians and non-vegetarians. So one of the other trekkers, the locals from Srinagar, he told us that this is the place where you need to have the lamb because you can procure it directly from the shepherd. So there was no purer way to have it. So yeah, we did that as well. So mostly it is like you treat the staff, like most of the food that you buy like this, it goes into treating the staff. But I think if you have a happy staff looking
Yes.
after you, your head trek is going to be happy as well. So
So Irfan was our man here. So we told him that this is what we want to do.
yeah, he got arranged for a sheep big enough to feed all of us. And we had ghosh tabar that day. That's one of the famous Kashmiri cuisines.
Brilliant. And I guess definitely having locals helps, but as you said, having a happy staff also in a big way impacts the whole experience of the trek, right? So yeah, this is the first appearance of Irfan, right?
Irfan, yeah.
Irfan. Yeah. So ghosh taba is one of, again, if we go in terms of the Kashmiri cuisine, so Rogan Josh is one, which we had. Ghosh taba is another, which is basically meatballs. And then all our days used to start with the Kashmiri tea, which was kawa.
Kawa, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a nice trek in terms of the food as well.
So you guys were not limited to soup. Some of the treks, like last time, it was just soup, and not a lot of people were happy with it. Now you guys have a variety also to pick from, so that's also great.
Yeah.
Lovely. So how's day 4 looking like?
Yeah. So day 4, we are going from Satsar Valley to the Gadsar Valley. So from one valley to the other. But for this valley, we are going to descend. So we are going to go 300 meters down to an altitude of 3,300 meters. And this day was about 7 to 8 kilometers of walk. And it was all meadow walk. So this day was, again, a bright day, a happy day, because it's all meadow walk. People were just jumping around, taking photos. Again, we crossed one of the army camps here. We had to get our IDs verified again. And then by the time we had reached the campsite, there was a small ice passage or some left.
Yeah, the remnants of a glacier on top of a river.
Yeah, which
so
we had to
cross over.
Yes. Yeah. So we crossed over and went to the campsite. And then there were some houses of the shepherds there. But some of us thought that there were actually some dhabas set up there. So some people actually went there. But those people, instead of denying them, actually treated them to the food that they had cooked for themselves.
Oh my God. I think this is the second, this is the second instance, I think, because even in the previous instance where we covered Kashmir on the podcast earlier, we got to see we got to hear to some of the Kashmiri hospitality, right? In terms of the way people treat you. I think it's just brilliant, right? And kind of completely defies the mainstream, I guess, media, how the picture is painted. I'm sure there is an element of truth to that as well. But in terms of the hospitality of the locals, right, it's just unmatched.
Yes, I think if you take your humility and your patience with you, you will find that all the locals are so nice. And like these people, they just walked into someone's house and asked if there was food, and they said yes, come sit with us, have food. And it was only later that they figured out that this is not a restaurant, this is not a dhaba, and these guys are just feeding them because you asked them to. So yeah.
So now while we reached here, we decided that there was a discussion that if we wanted to go ahead to the next spot or should we stay here.
What had happened was that because we started late on day 3, over the last 2 days we had actually covered the distance of 1 day's trek. So now we were here early enough, and the question was whether we wanted to continue to the next campsite, which would have been 1 whole day's walk. So while it was doable, we decided, again, it was... since it was a small group, it was easy to get everyone together, ask them if they felt like doing it or not. And we decided to basically stay there for that day. So we stopped at that very camp. We spent the evening, we did not waste the evening. We spent it finding another lake and taking a dip in it. It was again nice. But it was a unanimous decision by everyone that we would stay here and we would take it easy instead of rushing to the next spot, because of course you have the right to enjoy after such a long haul.
Definitely. And in terms of the day also, right, I guess because it's somewhat of a descent also, I guess it wasn't that hard on you guys also, right? In terms of taking a toll
Not
on
at
your
all.
bodies.
So the only concern against going to the next place was that we could not have halted in between. So it was one full day's worth of trek
Which you
to
would
get to the
have
next
done in half a day.
camping spot.
Yeah, and this day, actually this night, we even got a very clear sky. So Shuja, who was one of the coordinator, he is a fantastic photographer. So he helped me out with figuring out, okay, what all can I shoot? And I have taken some brilliant photos over this trek, thanks to him. So this was the day that we actually got the Milky Way.
Lovely. Yeah. Again, not that you were short on views or beauty of the nature. You have the Milky Way also to add to the collection. So just a brilliant thing, and just makes that whole trip or the whole experience so much more wholesome, right? The different kinds of experiences all add up to it. Lovely. So also, does this mean that since you kind of decided to take it a little easy on this day, did it also mean that you had to make up for it in the days to come?
Yeah, so essentially what we were losing out on was the final break day. So our original itinerary consisted of one break day, two break days, and the second break day was to be towards the end of the trek. So yeah, we would be somewhat giving up on that, but not completely. We'll probably get to that in the next...
in a bit.
Yeah, in a bit.
No worries. Carry on with the next day then after this.
So it's day 5 now, and we were at Gadsar Valley. So the next campsite is at the Krishansar and Vishansar lake. So a little ahead of that lake is where the campsite is. Again, we are going to be walking about 10 to 12 kilometers, and we are going to pass another pass, the second pass of the trek, which was the Gadsar Pass at a height of 4,175 meters.
So this was the highest pass of this trek.
Okay.
And whoever had said that the first day was the hardest was lying. Okay? This was the hardest day.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was telling you, right? Your tour guides are probably being like school teachers. That's what they say, right? This one, after this, it's smooth
all
sailing.
gonna be easy.
Or your parents also, for that matter. You pass the 10th and everything is smooth sailing after that.
And then it's
After
easy,
12th, everything is smooth sailing after that. You finish engineering, everything is smooth sailing after that.
Or even like get married, everything is going to be smooth sailing.
Have a kid, everything. Okay, I'm going on a tangent, but you get my sentiment, right?
Yeah, completely. Loud and clear.
Go on. Clearly sounds like a guy who needs a break, right? Karan and Parul.
Yeah.
So as we moved from the Gadsar Valley, the next lake that we came onto was the Gadsar Lake. Again, it was one of the beautiful lakes. It had recently had an avalanche, so the water was not really blue, but it was beautiful nevertheless. And then we started towards the pass. The sun was the brightest. It was really hot, and it was a steep ascent. I literally cried here, like tears in my eyes while getting to the top, and I somehow made it. But this was the day that actually, when we reached the top and we got the view of the Krishansar and Vishansar lake, that it actually answered that why we were doing this, like why we were putting ourselves through so much. The view of these two lakes was just out of the world. Like it just suddenly all your tiredness was gone. So we thought the lakes are here, so the campsite should be close by. So we started descending. We reached the first lake. There was no campsite. We reached the second lake. There was a campsite, it wasn't ours. Then we walked another 2 or 3 kilometers to reach our campsite, which was at the extreme end of the entire camping area.
Maybe you guys could explain the view when you got up there and that's the first time you saw the two lakes. How was the view?
Yeah, so the view, these two lakes, so again, they're high mountains, snow-clad mountains, and there are these extremely blue lakes in the middle of green gardens, meadows.
Meadows, yeah.
So, and the mountains are covered with clouds. So basically all the possible colors you could have, the blue, the green, the mountains, the snow, the clouds, everything was visible from the top of this pass. And even the campsite for this, but like this was supposed to be, now this was going to be ultimately a last campsite. So this was also one of the very beautiful campsites that we have seen. Again, there was like there was water in front of the camp. There were big mountains behind us. Everything was green. So it was a beautiful
Absolutely. And these are
campsite as well.
also, I think you mentioned twin lakes at the beginning also, right? The Nundkul and those were twin lakes, and these are also twin lakes,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, Nundkul and Gangbal were the twin lakes at the beginning of the trek, and these were were towards the end of the lake. I think the perception of beauty also differs with how tired you are.
Yes.
So those doing the trek from the route that we were doing, they find Vishansar as the best
Best lakes of the trek.
most beautiful lakes. The ones doing it the other way around think that Gangbal is probably the most beautiful lake on the entire trek. But Vishansar was just, well, whatever the reasons, it was really beautiful for us. And eventually we also understood why they had camped so far. Like the camping grounds were in the middle of meadows, surrounded by shepherd camps and with sheer mountains in the background. It was quite beautiful. So it was later in the day that we reached here as well, and then again the question was whether we leave the next day for the final camping ground, which was to be Tabletop right above Sonmarg. But according to our original itinerary, we were supposed to have
Camped here.
a day's break here.
break.
So, but we decided that we'll stay here another day. The reason being very simple: we wanted to take a dip in Vishansar. And everyone was of the same opinion that if we have come so far, having worked so hard for it, it's best that we enjoy it instead of rush forward. So what this basically meant in the end was that we would not camp at Tabletop, and the last day would be the longest day, which would involve almost, I think, 25 kilometers.
16 kilometers.
No, I think close to 16 to 20 kilometers of walking through one pass all the way till Sonmarg. But
we all agreed.
We asked if it was doable. The guide said it was doable. We were like, fine, we are going to stop here.
Great.
And the next day, that's how we spent the entire day. We got up a little late, chilled out at our camping spot, then went to Kishansar, took a dip there. So there was a rock right in the middle of the Kishansar lake, and 3 of our better swimmers took it in their mind that they wanted to swim all the way till the rock. So they actually did that. It was some 30 or 40 meters away from the shore. We had
cold water,
in freezing cold water. We had a really good time till the sun was out. Then we got out, dried ourselves. A few riders, like actual riders on top of horses, like 3 Pathans, they came to the lake. We started talking them up, and then we got photos clicked with them. It was a fun day in general. So it was a good day. Again, we were happy with our decision to have stayed here. Irfan even fished some rainbow trouts out of the river with his bare hands.
With his bare hands.
Oh my God.
With his bare hands.
Yeah.
He threw one at Parul.
I was so curious. I was standing right behind you. I was like, what are you doing? And he just turned and threw the fish on.
Then he taught me how to gut a fish, how to clean it up, make it ready for frying. And that evening we had fried rainbow trouts fresh out of the river.
And again, the skies are beautiful. So some of us who had nothing better, no other job to do, was standing with the cameras and just shooting the night sky.
The others actually enjoyed a makeshift bonfire because there was no firewood here, and Irfan really wanted, he was the kind of guy who can never say no to someone. Well, the reason we had to camp at Tabletop was that is the place you get firewood, and that is where you get a campfire, which is some people's typical idea of what a trek should essentially have. So he did a makeshift bonfire for them. It was kind of nice. It was a fun night.
Sounds like Superman, this guy. You sure his name was Irfan?
That's what he told us.
I would. But rainbow trout, you said, right? Yeah, those only a rainbow trout can beat the views, I guess, for someone who's been trekking the whole day and been hungry, right? I would have given up too. So this is day 6, right, guys?
Yes.
This is day 6. We took
so how's
a break.
the mood in the camp? This is, in one way, you guys have also been bonding for a while now, and this is inching closer towards the trek also.
So our typical evening involved sitting in the kitchen tent and playing Mafia, for hours and hours. So yeah, everyone is like, and in the Kabila, everyone has a role now, and they are taking it a bit too seriously.
Yeah.
So there are people walking around with sticks in their hand, demanding to inspect the tents. Others playing games in the tents, like Monopoly or some card game or stuff like that. And yeah, it's generally very happy. Everyone knows everyone else. Like the 8 of us
Right.
knew each other. Like everyone knew me, but now they know each other as well. We know the 2 Kashmiris. We promised one of them to visit one of their houses in Gurgaon and have some Kashmiri food there, which we still haven't followed up on. But yeah, it's really nice. And
yeah, somewhere everyone now knows that this is actually the last night of the trek.
Yeah.
So that is something that is started like.
Yeah, we have
sinking
started
in.
exchanging contacts and promising to email each other. Stuff like that.
Lovely. So it's a final day, and looks like it's going to be one heck of a day also, given that you have to make up for some time. Did you guys set off really early on this day?
Yeah, that's what we were told, that we'll have to get up really early in order to make it to Sonmarg.
And we did.
And we did get up early, but we started late because, well, the staff did not expect us to get up early.
They were not ready.
They were not
Don't
ready.
blame them, okay?
Yeah, but again, we started off easy, and the next pass, Nichnai Pass, was going to be almost as high as the Gadsar Pass. But for some reason, it did not feel all that high. I think the gradient was way less than the last day. And happily walking, we realized that we are on top of the pass and it's supposed to be descent from then on.
Okay.
So, but the Nichnai Pass, the last pass, is the place till where you see all these verdant green valleys, which are so typical and so beautiful of this trek. After that, it's again, sheer rocks, less vegetation and a stream flowing through it, but the views aren't as grand. So now we have actually left the Kashmir Great Lakes valleys behind us. So yeah, this is the point where we start celebrating the end of our trek.
And just to be clear, what Karan means is it is still very beautiful, much more beautiful than our day-to-day Bangalore or Pune or whatever it is.
Well, that's not even a comparison.
Yeah, you guys have been spoiled for choices over the past 6 days or whatever. That's what Karan means.
Yeah. So from here on, it was like officially. So there was just one path that we had to follow to get to Sonmarg, and 2 of our more enthusiastic trekkers, they ditched the entire group in preference for speed.
Okay.
So they literally ran all the way down till Sonmarg, 10 kilometers. Yeah, we found one waiting for us in a dhaba at Tabletop, which and then the other one we meet on the taxi
At Sonmarg.
in
Oh my
Sonmarg.
In the taxi.
Yeah. So yes, talking to each other, generally discussing the entire trek. Yeah,
Things about
life and everything. We reach Tabletop, where we have a little break. Yeah, the typical kind of sceneries that you see is either the sheep running around in flocks, not giving 2 cents about who you are, why are you walking here, or shepherds shearing those sheep. And yeah, it's a very different scene from what you usually see in Pune or Bangalore or cities like that. Yeah, very, very beautiful. Yes. And once we reached Tabletop, we could see the Sonmarg Valley and
The cities, the roads,
you kind
electricity
of
poles. So
remember what civilization is like.
yeah, it was very mixed. Like we did want to go back, get a hot shower, and be in a bed, but we also did not want to leave the place where we were. So it was a very mixed feeling at that point when we started seeing the valley.
I think things like these kind of make you appreciate the beauty a little bit more, right? Staying in cities. I think that's why we appreciate it as much as we do. I'm sure it's the same way for people living in these regions also, right? They find a visit to the city also fascinating because they're not used to seeing so many people or so many different kind of people, right, around, and the traffic and all of that. I mean, I'm sure it's not a pleasant one they want to come and settle in, but I think it just makes us appreciate things a little bit more.
Yeah, in my opinion, the grass was definitely greener on that side.
Yeah, I would agree too. But yeah, a little bit of a bittersweet moment nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great in terms of the description you guys have given of the place and the trek as well. definitely urge people to check out the blog where Karan and Parul have put down all the thoughts. So tell us a little bit more now. It's great that you guys are doing this. It's great that you guys are on a break. What's it looking like next for you guys?
So next we are planning to backpack in Mexico. We are planning to cover the south and the southeast of Mexico, mostly the Yucatan Peninsula. It looks quite exciting as far as our planning goes.
Sounds exciting as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, if anybody wants to reach out to you guys and know more about your travel, so how is the best way that anybody can do that?
So I think Instagram would be the most convenient.
Yes.
I go by the handle Grass Code, the same as the blog. And Parul is captured by Paulina.
Okay, perfect. We'll add links to all of that in our show notes so that it's easy for anybody to reach out to you guys.
So thank you so much, guys. It was brilliant, a brilliant experience even for us, vicariously living this with you, going through those colors of nature, right? More than anything, right? From the greens to the blues and the whites, the grays of the mountain also, right? So all of that put in with a touch of human emotion with the bonding you guys got to do as a group, as your Kabila, as you called it. All of that, and of course, how can we forget your Superman Irfan, who made this all the more enjoyable with the lovely Kashmiri cuisine. Thank you so much. Enjoyed every bit of it, and we look forward to hearing more stories from your travels.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Sure.
Thank you for
having us.
That was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Audioboom, Savan, Pocket Casts, Castbox, Stitcher, or any other podcasting app available on iOS or Android. Please do leave us a review on iTunes. It goes a long way in the show's discoverability. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com or visit our website at www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of each episode. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.